Hello guys, and welcome to another TDS video. It's my first time doing a scripted video, so let's see how this goes. Today I'll be ranking towers in TDS, but first let's lay down some rules. Golden skins and the base tower of them are separate on the list. I will not include Frost Blaster or Swarmer as I do not have them and it'd be stupid to give an opinion on them. This list will be in tiers from F to S tier, and finally, and most obvious, this ranking is based on usefulness. Alright. Now that that's out of the way, let's get into this. Alright, so obviously in last place, we have Freezer. It does no damage until level 3. And it does not freeze for long enough to justify its damage or fire rate. Next to Freezer, at the bottom, we have Rocketeer. It has no purpose, it can't do early game, performs horribly in mid game, and can't scratch up enough damage to be good in late game. With its 8 placement limit and no hidden detection, it's truly one of the worst towers in the game, sadly. Moving on to D tier, we have Demo Man. It's half decent for noobs, but gets replaced early due to having no hidden detection and slow fire rate. And then we have Normal Pyro. It shreds crowds, though has no hidden detection and struggles on stronger bosses. It is okay, but you should not buy it. We also have Electroshocker down here. This is just Freezer, but a bit better. It stalls enemies, but has slow fire rate. It kind of makes up for it in chain damage, but it can still only do 4 damage. We also have Mortar, first cliff tower on the list, but it's lacking one at that. No hidden detection, slow fire rate, and it has high range. Has a nuke that does 80 damage. You know what? It's TDS. Who needs to question logic? We also have Commando. It's one of the worst, sadly one of the worst event towers. Overpriced, low DPS, no hidden detection. It's certainly disappointing that this is so bad. And then finally for this tier we have Hunter. Does not do good early due to having low damage and low fire rate. It does have flying detection, unless they add flying enemies outside of hardcore, it's pretty useless, also outside of events. Moving on to C tier, this and B tier will have way too many towers, I'm already telling you. First off, we have my favorite tower, Military Base. Yeah, that's right, my favorite tower. It's my favorite tower, and it's very good, but situational. It does a lot of things by just being a big unit with a lot of HP. It can cover basically everything you need. Fast or slow enemies, strong or weak, hidden or not, does not matter. It can ram it, unless it's Ghost. Then it can't ram it. Then we have Slasher. It can be good early game if you don't have Gladiator, but it's less reliable than Gladiator. Its use is just being Gladiator, but worse. Really, it's kind of sad. Slasher's really cool. Archer is a slow firing tower. It can pierce enemies, but that gets that level 3, so it's not really good before then. Those upgrades are really cheap, though. It's like max level is like 2,500. It's pretty cheap for what it does. No, it's 3,500. I think. I'm not sure. And then we have Scout. That being this high up might be a bit weird, but it can really pack a punch for being free. It's got cheap but effective upgrades. It gets outclassed quick. Another seemingly weird one is Paintballer. It does good early game. It can splash. It has low DPS and no hidden detection, but it can be good for how cheap it is. Soldier and its golden form are both here because they both are about the same power. They both work as cheap early game, but don't match up well against bosses. Turret is the most expensive tower to place down, and being unlocked by level 50, it should be good, right? Well, kind of. It's good, but it has about the same DPS as Golden Minigunner. Its extra range does not make up for its high price and placement limit of 5. Toxic Gunner is no longer good anymore. Below nerfed it into the ground, and now it's bad. Its support is bad, and its DPS is bad, and it's a lot of bad. It's got no hidden detection either. At least it is passable for its like DPS and also support kind of role. And then finally for this tier, the only cliff tower with hidden detection is Sniper. It's not good with DPS for its price. It's alright. It's alright though. It's time for B tier. Ranger has not been nerfed recently. It's just that everything else has been buffed, and Ranger can't compete with anything else. So yeah, this place is Ranger. And it's great for like newer players late game, but on the highest level of the game, it's only good for hardcore, just lead balloons. Cowboy is unique in its obtainment method. It is very sought after due to it being very hard to beat Badlands on Fallen mode. I'm sure you guys in public servers have seen a few people running around being like, who wants to do Badlands? It's worth it though. It's able to provide money while defending off the horde. And then there's Crook Boss. Being level 30 obtainable, it's illogically one of the best level unlocks. It's summoning units and also having great DPS. Works great with yeah, it's really good for that. It works great doing like with wave 10 / wave 7. Not really wave 7. Who even plays normal mode? Whatever. Pursuit, it's been nerfed a lot lately. After being buffed because it can no longer be stunned, it got nerfed a lot. Now it's just kind of bad. It gets hidden detection way too late. Its missiles are pathetic. Yeah, so it can't really do too much. It's decent at level 3 though. Executioner is great mid-game. If you did get it, which was pretty hard to get, but if you did, it's pretty good since it can hit flying zombies, can hit like so many enemies at once. It can shred crowds. And Militant, it's like minigunner before you can get minigunner. Has good DPS and no longer has its reload, thankfully. And it gets early hidden detection. All around, it's a great tower. And now finally, it's time for A tier. Let's kick it off with a great support tower and medic. It's able to heal back damage from leaks, healing stuns, and not too bad DPS. Makes this a great tower. You want to get this for your Fallen mode runs. Golden Scout rivals Gladiator for the best early game, but cannot speed run, sadly. Can deal with anything early game can throw except for swarms of enemies, particularly on wave 11, but it still does great in late game, weakening enemies. Ace Pilot has been climbing the ranks recently, also being a great early game, also buffing towers to be able to have hidden detection. Also has an absurd DPS, that only being nerfed by its flying around mechanic, but that also means it shreds against hordes since it can spread damage to all of them in an instant. And Sledger can Sledger, the Frost Invasion event tower, can destroy big enemies, being able to freeze them and do extra damage to frozen enemies, so it can work with some other freezing towers. And it's good to pair with Acel because they are both great with Commander, and also Sledgers can stop enemies while Accelerator charges up to finish them off. And then there's DJ. It's amazing support with making expensive towers more affordable. Is insanely good, and also range buffs can be extremely good. Though it kind of nerfs Gladiator because it makes it waste slashing the air, which is kind of like, why does it do that? Anyways, Golden Pyro is just an insane golden skin because it buffs Pyro so much, giving it hidden detection and more damage. Now that makes it good in hardcore, which, I mean, we need more towers that are good in hardcore because that mode's just so hard. Speaking of hardcore, Engineer. Though it has traumatized me and made me not want to go near hardcore ever again, it was worth it because Engineer can destroy crowds of enemies. Its sentries are so overpowered and do so much DPS. And the base Engineer itself, while not being too useful, can kind of deal with hidden and flying enemies due to having both of those detections. And is all around a great tower for any kind of enemy. Shotgunner may seem weird to come up this high. It's but it's great for 2,500 coins and shreds crowds of zombies. You can also hit multiple enemies at once. That makes it great for mid-game. Also, like early game past like wave like 4 or so, once you could get enough for 2. And so now we have Golden Crook Boss. It destroys mid-game. If you can get it to level 3, it can have several guards that just like do pretty good DPS, and with itself having great DPS, it can shred mid-game, especially like with normal bosses and stuff. If you're struggling on that stuff, you better hope you get Golden Crook Boss, because I mean, I would say you go for it, but then RNG. Yeah. Minigunner can shred crowds with decent DPS. It is also very reliable for many different types of zombies, and has the most skins in the game, which is pretty cool. It being cheap decently cheap for what it does at 2,000. That means it can stop enemies in their tracks. Alright, now we have S tier. After swaying the script for way too long, we have S tier. First off, we have Golden Cowboy, which is normal cowboy's job, but way better. It's a great source of income and does damage and money. Best of both worlds. From one golden skin to another, we have Golden Mini. It has great DPS and is very spammable at level 2. It definitely is a nerf to the old Golden Minigunner, which at level 3 could shred so many enemies. But hey, you win some, you lose some. Definitely the quote I'd say for Golden Perks update. Gladiator, my second favorite tower and the best early game in the game. Being able to wreck Fallen mode until wave 30 and outclassing several towers is just truly an amazing tower. And how it used to be bad, I still don't know how they buffed it so much. Accelerator, one of the most recent towers, knocks it out of the park with its DPS, having the highest in the game and destroys any enemy. Its only weakness being the charge up, and also cool down. But if you can get around that, then it can destroy basically anything. Commander has been one of the best support towers for a while, surviving several nerfs, and it massively buffs towers like Accelerator and Minigunner to insane fire rates. Alright, so hear me out. I know I said S tier was the highest, but there is one tower I've yet to cover. And in SSS tier, I don't know why I decided that, we have Farm. Yeah, no joke. This is one of the best towers in the game. Commander is actually the second best support tower. If you have Farm, half the game is farming. Yet it is perfectly balanced. You cannot nerf it or buff it. It is in a state of perfection. Well, with that, we have finished this video. One like is one prayer for my sanity, because I still have to edit this. So yeah, take care and be great. Burb out.